I saw this clip I'm playing in the background right now, and it actually made me sad because the past few videos I've been talking a lot about how relationships or your experience with people can be short-term or impulsive because of other psychological factors. And I even mentioned my own experiences too. Listen, most of my relationships fell apart because of my mental instability, mixed in with craving intense relationships as well, which usually comes attached with toxicity. If you follow the Aku anime, you kind of know my mental health history and diagnosis and whatever, right? I'm medicated now. I'm unmedicated now for like 3/4 of a year. I remember a close friend told me when we were out for lunch one time, he was a paramedic for about 10 years and he's a police officer and a detective now. But he's like a specialist at his department because whenever someone calls the police and there's like an obvious mental health situation going on, they bring him because he handles it the best, right? So, and we were out to lunch, right? And he told me, Andre, I'm glad you're off your medication now. And I understand you still have your urges or feel episodes coming through or anything like that. The best thing you can do is to practice self-awareness when it's active. Like, try your hardest to be self-aware of what you're about to have an episode about or what you're going through, or if you're actively going through something right now, and then catch yourself so it doesn't externalize too much or overconsume you. Does that make sense? Like, realize like, oh wait, whatever that I have is active right now, cut it out. You know what I'm saying? And I think about that a lot. I've taken his advice. Like, I can feel things lurking and I just heavily suppress it by thinking of other certain things or whatever. Do I still screw up and not catch myself? Absolutely. But I'm much better now. And like with that video I showed in the intro, I'll just put it again in the background so you guys know what I'm talking about. It's kind of what it's like as a guy too. I've also dated women who were also diagnosed as well, or they weren't, but it was like, it was kind of blatantly obvious. So something wasn't quote normal, right? And all I can really say is that like dating me or dating someone like this feels like you've been dating for like 3 years or something within a few weeks. It's weird. Every relationship I've been in has sort of been that way. Nothing is ever slow, healthy, or moderated. Everything has to be intense. Everything has to feel like a speed run, you know? I don't know if any of y'all ever dated someone like this though, but it's like when you do, right? If you haven't experienced it, or if you have, like, let me know if you relate, but it's like pure soulmate connection to the point where it feels like years upon years upon years of intimacy and emotions and vulnerability with this person. It all got packed and compressed within a few weeks or a month. And then when it finally fizzles out or something happens, you suddenly feel like you lost your soulmate. Like, bro, and it feels like you'll never get someone like that again. And you're crying and you're feeling depressed over someone you only knew for a few weeks or whatever, right? The thing is, if we touch with the psychological characterizations of borderline personality disorder, it's a very complex mental condition where someone has an intense instability with their emotions, self-image, and their personal relationships. And many people with BPD have intense fear of abandonment, very impulsive behaviors, rapid mood swings, and their self-perception is also very unstable at times, right? I already mentioned self-image, right? And because of all of this, right, when you're romantically involved with someone like this, it's very intoxicating and destructive if not checked. That doesn't mean they don't deserve love, but that's why I said if not checked. That's what my friend was talking about when he said, Andre, just have some self-awareness when it's active. Check yourself, because if you don't check yourself, it becomes problematic, especially in relationships. Because oftentimes when dating someone like this, the attention they give you, I'm sure you can relate to this. It's hard to explain. I can't, how can I relate if I can't explain it, right? Some of you guys know how it is. Like when she showered you with attention, undivided, like gestures that were huge, the way she spoke to you about forever, eternal love, etc., it hit different. And what's sad about it all is it's not just infatuation. It's infatuation. It's not just that. It's infatuation boosted and amplified by the actual characteristics and features of this disorder. That's why the video that I showed in the beginning, the clip, whatever, it expresses how it expresses itself. Someone can make you feel like you're in heaven by dating them. People use the term, I've seen this a lot and this gets commonly associated with BPD, people use the term love bombing a lot, right? And again, even my situation too, I've done it a million times. It's horrible. It's a habit of mine. I can't stop myself all the time. I'll like literally overwhelm someone in a good/bad way with affection, gifts, constant communication, and like planning our future together, even though I have no proof we have genuine compatibility. It's very manipulative. And it's not like it's done on purpose, because that's what people have misunderstood. It's not done on purpose, because in the context of this topic, where this comes from, BPD, this behavior comes from a huge desperation for validation and connection with someone you're attracted to. It's not like narcissistic love bombing, which is a whole other topic, because people get that confused as well. Narcissistic love bombing comes from someone having calculated intentions to control someone or gain admiration from them. BPD love bombing is an actual intense and genuine, unstable, emotional high where we just hyper focus on a relationship as our complete source of identity and stability. Like this moment, this speed run we're having, this is the number one priority in life. Nothing else matters. It's so bad. And this is what happens. And honestly, for any guys watching who met a girl like this, for example, I'm only talking as a guy who was diagnosed and as someone who dated women who are diagnosed or speculatively diagnosed or conditioned, right? But for any guys who dated someone like everything I just described, but being on the receiving end, you know how it is. You probably still miss her too. But you might feel angry or stressed, right? But she came back. I know you got a lot to say, but you kind of miss her still. You feel betrayed, but and some of you may feel like it was all fake this whole time. Hey, that's up to your interpretation, okay? I don't think it's fake, personally. I just think it's someone who isn't mentally in control enough. That's how I feel. That's why I mentioned, listen, it's BPD love bombing is an actual intense and genuine, but unstable emotional high where someone just hyper focuses on a relationship. It doesn't mean they were faking it. It just means they're not in control of themselves, really. And then you're enjoying that too much, or it feels like you're on heaven with somebody, right? And if I were to give any advice, a good way to test if true compatibility with someone like this is possible, right? Because you may enjoy this person right now. It's like it's heaven, right? Whatever, right? Because look, I'm not trying to say this. This isn't a pedestal, by the way, because this isn't something I would consider a good thing, because they genuinely need to be loved differently than others. You can't love someone with BPD the same way you love someone who is emotionally stable and has a stable self-image. You have to check their reality. What I mean is that, and see how, what I mean is, observe how they react to the smallest amount of conflict or routine disruption. You have to steady or stabilize what they want without making their feelings feel invalid. That's one of the biggest problems I've personally faced. I've been on both sides of. When the quote BPD demon isn't active, right? Yeah, it feels like you're not in heaven with them, or they just pulled back from, like, you're in heaven still, but they pulled back. Something seriously may be going on in their life because they have poor self-image, because they are emotionally unstable. And again, this causes their emotions to become detached and suppressed. Try not to be disrespectful or treat it like something isn't valid about what they said or how they felt about you. Because this is how you talk about you missed that girl, right? Who made you feel like this. This is how you screwed it up, because you were being disrespectful, or you invalidated the feelings. And just like being disrespectful or rude about it makes people feel misunderstood or like they're a terrible person. Remember, self-image is already a huge issue. So if you start just attacking them when they're already having self-image issues deep down subconsciously because you're mad or you feel insecure that you're not getting the same amount of attention or affection or whatever or care as when, quote, BPD demon was active, chill out. Like that's how you ruin it if you don't respect that boundary. But hey, have you guys ever dated someone like this or had an experience with somebody like this? Let me know down below. This episode is found on Spotify and YouTube.